The next speaker is Stephan Griebel of Siemens on artificial intelligence.
Okay, thanks a lot, Bart, for the introduction. And as I'm already too late because we have 15 minutes, would you give me a sign then 5 minutes before the end? Perfect. Okay, so thanks a lot. My name is Stephan Griebel. I'm working for Siemens Mobility in Braunschweig. We are doing the signaling part. Next slide, please. And there's a green button. Ah. It's a DIY presentation. Okay, I do it myself. That confuses me already. So okay, thank you. So I'm, besides, I have to admit, I'm a mathematician, but I'm not an AI expert. So I'm an enthusiastic hobbyist when it comes to AI, but I'm kind of professionally involved in standardizations. I'm the European chairman for railway signaling, and I'm also looking into what's going on when it comes to AI and machine learning in the standardization activity. And that's what I want to talk about to you today, very briefly. Okay, so my point is that besides all the challenges that we still have when it comes to AI, machine learning, it's wonderful research, yet nevertheless some of the tough problems are not yet solved when it comes to applying it, for example, to the safety domain in railways. And apart from that, nevertheless, the regulation and standardization moves on and is actually publishing standards on AI and machine learning, neural networks, and also the European AI regulation will be published either next year or within 2 years. So that means that the framework is developing very rapidly. It's the so-called AI Act which will be published. I will be talking about it, and also standards. Harmonized standards are being developed right now as we speak here in the European working groups. Yet our point is, and that's what I'm reiterating, is that we have existing, for example, safety standards, and every new technology, every new idea has to pass through these little holes of the safety standards and have to pass through it. And up to now it's not yet possible. It might be possible in the future. So first, some of the challenges of AI machine learning very briefly, then the activities at a worldwide level. That's only one slide. Then we go to the status of the European AI regulation, artificial intelligence regulation, then about the work on the harmonized standards, and then some conclusion. So what's different about machine learning? Just very briefly, the idea is that you train some algorithms who adapts itself based on some learning data, and then you give the algorithm something new, and based on what he has learned, he gives some result. So it's always a kind of statistical or stochastical method behind it. It's basically very refined mathematics, I would say, nothing else. Yet there are some problems or challenges when it comes to using this, for example, in the railway domain to safety. Because in safety we are very requirements driven. That means we have to clearly specify what our system is doing. We have to implement it then correctly, and in the very end, and that's very important, we all know we have to demonstrate and explain it to somebody, namely the assessor, for example. And that's the hard part, the explainability, because we want to know why. Why this result and not another result. And that's where one of the basic advantages of AI turns into its biggest disadvantage, because basically in most cases we can't say why we have this result in a sense of a causal relationship between input and output. We do this for software, for hardware, yet these very fancy and wonderful algorithms like neural networks, there you can't tell why exactly. So where's the causal relationship between the input and the output? It's rather statistical correlations. That's also fine. It's wonderful. You can do nice things with it. Yet the question is how to explain an assessor that it's free enough from random failures, from systematic failures, and what's the causal relationship? That's the hard part right now, and I have not yet seen a safety case using an AI functionality. That might be the case in the future. All the companies are running behind the scenes to get this. A lot of research around, yet neither standards on that nor a safety case has been published. So some of the hard problems, as I said, mostly it's to prove the sufficient freedom from random and systematic faults, and the missing causality. Only statistical relations are available. That's surely enough too short an explanation, yet we want to go to the standardization activities, and on a worldwide level, the ISO IEC, there's a joint technical committee, subcommittee 42, and they are already standardizing left, right and center and are publishing standards on various topics, ranging from management of AI, data quality of AI, accuracy of neural networks, so on a great variety of different levels of abstraction. They are already publishing. They are now underway since 2018. A lot of working groups. In the beginning, let's say in my youth, I was still harboring the hope that I could follow all these activities, yet basically I've given up. It's really a lot of work they are actually doing with a also great variety of quality. Let me put it this way and leave it there. But if you're interested in that, if you have experts, so to speak, available, then let them have a peek into that. We want to concentrate on Europe, and in Europe we have the legislation part. That means that right now we are in a trialogue, that's a nice word, between the EU Commission, the EU Council and the Parliament. Each has published its proposal for an AI regulation, and all three proposals, the basic idea behind is to protect the human rights of the EU citizens. That's a very nice idea. I like that. The question now is how technically will this in the end, this in the end be, and will it, let's say, require some additional assessment procedures? We as manufacturers, sure enough, we're interested exactly in that. So do we need an additional approval if we, for example, use a machine learning algorithm in our railway system? These proposals are now underway. We are not, surely enough, not directly involved because that's the legal and democratic area. Yet from time to time, we, using the associations, we can make comments on that. And we have made, for example, comments that we liked, that's the trial, we liked very much the risk-based approach. It's not quite exactly the risk we are talking about in the 51-6, 1-9, the railway safety standards, yet nevertheless that's a very good approach, meaning that you identify also within the, already within the AI Act, you identify unacceptable risk areas where it will not be allowed to use AI algorithms. For example, when there's the danger of discriminating persons. And that's also very neatly, and not neatly, but very closely related to the question of data, representativity of data, how you train your algorithms. There are a lot of stories around. I don't want to bore you with that right now. When it comes to railways, we are right now listed under high risk area. That means that when we are using AI algorithms, we at least have to prove that our risk is acceptable. That's all the normal stuff of risk analysis and all the problems that come with it. What is still not yet clear, and that's don't laugh, but it's the definition of artificial intelligence. Okay. Definition, machine learning is a little bit easier, yet there's still haggling and wrangling about what is the definition of AI. Some want it as broad as possible, and some want it as small as possible and narrow as possible. So that's still not resolved. Then what exactly are all the high-risk areas and the relation to the existing vertical regulations and standards? How will this relate then to our TSI, to our standards we're doing at the TC9X, for example? In particular, the harmonized standards being developed under this AI Act will be interesting because, you know, new approach, AI regulation only dealing with the fundamental protection goals, and then all the details are in the standards. So the EU Commission has given 10 requests for standards to the JTC 21. That's the group that is dealing with that. And these 10 commandments are that these group has to provide and publish standards on, as you see, risk management, quality of data set, record keeping, information provision, transparency, human oversight. I don't know exactly what that is actually. Accuracy specifications, robustness, cybersecurity. Lo and behold, it's already complicated and now it's cybersecurity for AI systems. And then quality management system, and last but not least, number 10, conformity assessment, which is making us very nervous because we don't want to have parallel processes. Us, for example, now I'm speaking as Siemens. Okay, the structure is a normal, that's normal standardization madness, that you have various working groups, and now the next 3 slides are only overviews so that you see that there's actually work going on. You have so-called NWIPs, new work item proposals. That's the first step for a new standard, and there are already standards, new work item proposals under preparation, for example in working group 2. In working group 3 you already have new WIPs under vote, for example for the logging system and the treatment of unwanted bias in classification and regression machine learning tasks. So very specific already. And in working group 4 they are also dealing with, and that's interesting, on the second column, guidance on risk management. So those proposals can all be read already. If you're a part of the group, then you can internally take part of that. That's normal Senelec work. And then I think the last issue is the question, the relation between these standards, because they are horizontal. They are valid for all industries and all sectors, and the question is now, how do they relate to our railway standards? Be it on climatic conditions, be it on safety, be it on software. And it's not yet solved. The Commission, I attended some presentation and they said that surely enough the horizontal standards, they set the terminology and requirements and are aligned with the AI Act. That's their vertical guy they're looking at, because they have to be harmonized standards under the AI Act. Yet when it comes to the vertical standard, that's us or automotive or power gen or power systems, they have to build up on horizontal standards and only add technology specifics for the sector. So we could add then technology specifics when it comes to AI for railways. Right now I can't think of any, but that's the basic idea. So that we can refer to these basic AI standards and add things specific for railways. Yeah, let's see how it will end up. I don't know basically. But that's not the conclusion yet. There are some conclusions. But that's if you're interested in, and if you're using AI and machine learning algorithms in your system, you might, as a minimum in the future, have to relate yourself to this AI Act, meaning that you might have to write half a page why this is a no-risk application, or why the risk is acceptable when it comes to your AI function. That's the minimum I think we can't avoid when this AI Act will be published. So the regulatory activities will be having a decisive impact on the homologation application of AI algorithms in the European market. Okay, that's a given. The harmonized standards are already under construction, yet the timeline is very challenging. Normally they should have been published next year or 25, but that's basically, they have given up on that because it's so complex, let me put it this way. And it's also necessary that we have the stable basis, meaning that the AI Act has to be published. We need to monitor this in AI research and the standardization activities. For example, in TC9X we have a survey group for that, and also in my group, the SN9XA, the signaling standardization group, we are every half year publishing a report on what's going on, and we have to determine if we need to take action ourselves. Yet, and that's what I like to reiterate always, we have existing safety standards, and every new technology, be it hydraulic or mechanic or AI and machine learning algorithms, they have to pass through this small hole, and that's still very, very challenging, and there's a lot of research to be done. Thanks a lot.